We're live from New Delhi, watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Historic first World Cup title for Indian women's cricket team as they clinch memorable 52-run victory against South Africa in the title clash in Navi Mumbai. President Murmu, Prime Minister Modi congratulate Team India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate the Emerging Science, Technology and Innovation Conclave ESTIC 2025 in New Delhi, also to launch Research, Development and Innovation Scheme to strengthen private sector-led R&D ecosystem. US President Donald Trump does not rule out military operation in Nigeria, says there could be US troops on the ground in Nigeria or airstrikes. Israel says it received the remains of 3 additional captives from Hamas as part of a hostage prisoner exchange under the US brokered Gaza ceasefire agreement. Strong earthquake tremors measuring 6.3 on the Richter scale rattle Afghanistan's Hindu Kush region. Tremors felt from Iran to Pakistan. And on to the details now. The Indian women's cricket team scripted history, winning their maiden ICC World Cup title last night in Navi Mumbai. The women in blue defeated South Africa in the summit clash by 52 runs. The team secured the coveted trophy in its 3rd attempt, having previously lost the 2005 final to Australia and 2017 summit clash to England. Now in the 2025 finals, Shefali Verma scored a brilliant 87 off 78 balls, while Deepti Sharma contributed a runner ball 58, helping India post 298 for 7 in 50 overs after being invited to bat first. In the chase, Laura Wolvaert led South Africa's reply with the captain's knock of 101, but they were all out for 246 in 45.3 overs. Deepti Sharma claimed a 5 for 39 in a fine all-round display on a memorable night for the host, while Shefali chipped in with 2 wickets for 36 runs. With this win, India joined Australia, England and New Zealand as the only countries to have won the showpiece tournament. And President Draupadi Murmu congratulated women team on historic win. In a social media post on X, she said, and I quote, "My heartiest congratulations to each and every member of the Indian women cricket team on winning the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025. They've created history by winning it for the first time. They have been playing well and today they got the result befitting their talent and performance. This watershed moment will take women cricket to still higher performances. I admire the way the girls have done India proud," unquote. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi too hailed the women team for their splendid win. He said, and I quote, "A spectacular win by the Indian team in the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025 finals. Their performance in the final was marked by great skill and confidence. The team showed exceptional teamwork and tenacity throughout the tournament. Congratulations to our players," unquote. Also, Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia also congratulated women's team. He said, and I quote, "History scripted. What an iconic performance by our women in blue. 140 crore Indians are cherishing this proud moment. Congratulations, world champions," unquote. And moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Emerging Science and Technology Innovation Conclave 2025 at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi today. In a landmark move to strengthen India's research and innovation landscape, the Prime Minister will also launch the 1 lakh crore rupees Research, Development and Innovation Scheme Fund. Well, the ambitious initiative aims to foster a robust private sector-driven R&D ecosystem, encouraging greater participation of industries in innovation and technological development. Now, by bringing together global and domestic experts across these domains for 3 days, ESTEC 2025 aims to strengthen India's science and technology ecosystem. And Bahrain's Foreign Minister Abdulatif bin Rashid Al Zayani is in New Delhi on a 2-day visit to India. Today he will meet External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. His visit comes after Dr. Jaishankar visited Bahrain in December last year. During last year's visit, Dr. Jaishankar co-chaired the 4th meeting of the India-Bahrain High Joint Commission. India and Bahrain enjoy excellent bilateral relations characterized by cordial political, economic, cultural and people-to-people contacts. He will depart from India tomorrow. And later in the day, Prime Minister Modi would again be campaigning in Bihar, where he will address election rallies in Saharasha and Katihar. On Sunday, Prime Minister Modi held back-to-back rallies in Arha and Nawada districts, followed by a mega roadshow in Patna. He stressed that the NDA's manifesto is a guarantee of Bihar's all-round development along with social justice. Later, in a social media post on his X handle, Prime Minister Modi thanked the people of the city for their affection and blessings. RJD leader and Mahagathbandhan's Chief Minister face Tejashwi Yadav held a public rally in Vaishali Assembly constituency. He assured that families without government jobs will be provided with one after his alliance forms the government. And 15 people died and 2 were injured in a road accident in Jodhpur district in Rajasthan on Sunday. The deceased and injured were travelling in a tempo traveller which crashed into a parked truck on the Bharatmala Expressway. Now, the injured were taken to the nearby hospital for treatment and a green corridor was created for their swift transfer, and police have launched an investigation into the cause of the crash. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over the accident and announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh Indian rupees each for the deceased and 50,000 rupees for the injured from the Prime Minister National Relief Fund. And nearly 6 months after Operation Sindoor, India is carrying out its biggest military exercise along the coast of Gujarat and western borders of Rajasthan, involving all the 3 services and other agencies to practice multi-domain integrated operations in a large and complex operational environment. Major Tri-Services Exercise Trishul exemplifies India's resolve to safeguard its borders through the spirit of jointness, Atmanirbharta and innovation. The exercise aims to achieve validation and synchronization of operational procedures across the 3 services, enabling joint operations in multi-domain environment. Key objectives include enhancing interoperability of platforms and infrastructure. The drill that has commenced and will continue till the 2nd week of November.
One flag, one force, one nation. The power of integration comes live.
And Indian Army's South African Western Command 2 carried out a major integrated fire and maneuver exercise named Sentinel Strike from October 28 to 30th at Mahajan Field Firing Ranges in Rajasthan Thar District. The exercise, executed by the formation's gunners, showcased exceptional precision and coordination as they engaged and destroyed simulated hostile targets during live firing drills. Now conducted in an all-arms environment, the exercise featured modern artillery systems, mechanized forces, and a comprehensive counter-drone and counter-unmanned aerial systems grid. Following the exercise, Army Commander Lieutenant General Manjinder Singh said the forces are preparing for any act of war, any contingency.
Indian Army is following the political direction of new normal. As we have been told that today any act of terror in the country, whenever it happens, will be act of war. So for a military or the Indian Army have to prepare for this, any act which is going to happen. So for this, in Southwestern Command, we undertaken series of steps to ensure that our activities are aligned and are fully prepared to respond to the enemy if any misadventure is taken anywhere in the country.
While India has taken another decisive leap in space technology and defense communication, on Sunday, Indian Space Research Organisation launched its heaviest communications satellite, CMS-03, from Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota. The state-of-the-art satellite will strengthen the Indian Navy's space-based communication network and will enhance maritime domain awareness. Prime Minister Modi says India's space sector has become synonymous with excellence and innovation. More in this report.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The Indian Space Research Organisation successfully launched its heavy communication satellite CMS-03 from Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh on Sunday.
Two Vikas engines together generating
The CMS-03, weighing 4,410 kilograms, is the heaviest communication satellite launched by ISRO till date. It was carried into the orbit by LV-M3-M5 rocket, marking yet another significant milestone for the Indian Space Agency.
The CMS-03 satellite is a multi-band communication satellite with coverage over a wide oceanic region, including the Indian landmass, and is designed for providing communication services for at least 15 years. The satellite incorporates a host of new technologies and yet another shining example of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the successful launch of the satellite. On X, he said, and I quote, "Our space sector continues to make us proud. Congratulations, ISRO, on the successful launch of India's heaviest communication satellite, CMS-03. Powered by our space scientists, it is commendable how our space sector has become synonymous with excellence and innovation. Their success have furthered national progress and empowered countless lives." Unquote. Satellite would strengthen Navy's space-based communications and maritime domain awareness capabilities. CMS-03, also referred to as GSAT-7R, is tailor-made to serve as the backbone of Indian Navy's communication network across the Indian Ocean. The GSAT-7R is the most advanced communication satellite developed for the Indian Navy to date. It is entirely indigenously designed and developed and underscores India's growing competence in high-end satellite technologies. The satellite is loaded with multi-band payloads including C, extended C and Ku bands that enable secure, high-capacity voice, data and video transmissions between warships, submarines, aircraft and shore-based command centers. Its continuous geosynchronous positions ensures uninterrupted, secure communication for both the armed forces and civilian agencies involved in disaster response, remote sensing, and telemedicine. It will also strengthen India's command and control capabilities across its vast maritime frontier. The satellite's introduction will also reduce India's reliance on foreign platforms for strategic connectivity, representing a stride in self-reliance under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's initiative of Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Iran's President Pezeshkian vows to rebuild nuclear sites stronger than before, denies pursuing nuclear weapons. U.S. urban search and rescue teams aid Jamaica after devastating Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. And world marks International Day of Biosphere Reserves today, celebrating harmony between people and nature.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, US President Donald Trump has warned that the United States could deploy troops or carry out airstrikes in Nigeria to stop the killing of large number of Christians in the nation. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump said he had instructed the Defense Department to prepare for possible fast military action if Nigeria fails to crack down on the killing of Christians. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that the US government will also immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria.
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Well, Trump's warning came after Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu earlier on Saturday pushed back on Trump, announcing a day earlier that he was designating the West African country a country of particular concern for allegedly failing to rein in the persecution of Christians. Meanwhile, Christian leaders at a church service in Nigeria's Kaduna expressed frustration with the government's handling of security but drew a line at foreign interference in the country's sovereignty. Now, Christian leaders in Nigeria welcomed Trump's threat to intervene over religious violence but cautioned against any attempt to dictate the country's leadership. And updates from West Asia now. Israel said on Sunday it had received the remains of 3 additional captives from Hamas as part of the ongoing hostage prisoner exchange under a U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement for Gaza. Prime Minister's office said in a statement that IDF and Shin Bet forces received the remains of 3 fallen hostages through the Red Cross inside Gaza. The remains are being transported to Israel for identification. The bodies are expected to be those of 3 of the 11 hostages whose remains Israel is seeking from Gaza under the terms of the ceasefire. Now, Israel has said Hamas has been too slow in delivering them. Hamas says it is working as quickly as possible under the difficult conditions. And since the start of the truce, Hamas has released the surviving hostages and begun handing over the remains of 28 deceased captives. Hamas released all 20 living hostages held in Gaza in return for nearly 2,000 Palestinian convicts and wartime detainees held by Israel. It has so far returned remains of 17 hostages, including 15 Israelis, 1 Thai national and 1 Nepali. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on Sunday vowed that his country will rebuild its nuclear sites stronger than before, adding that the country does not seek a nuclear weapon. Now, Pezeshkian made his comments during a visit to the country's Atomic Energy Organization, during which he met with senior managers from Iran's nuclear industry. The sites were damaged following strikes by Israel and the US, which accused Tehran of seeking to build nuclear weapons. Now, Tehran maintains that its nuclear program is for purely civilian purposes. Pezeshkian said that Iran will build the destroyed sites stronger than before.
This knowledge is within our scientists. Destroying buildings and factories will not create a problem for us. We will rebuild and with greater strength. I have always said this: if we rely on our brains and scientists, they cannot remove the nuclear industry by simply destroying one or two things.
اعلام کردن و فتوا دادن که ما
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump claimed that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated in the attack, but the full extent of the damage remains unknown. Trump has warned that he would order fresh attacks on Iran's nuclear sites if Tehran tries to restart the facilities. Now, in June, the US launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities that Washington says were part of a program geared towards developing nuclear weapons. And an earthquake of magnitude 6.3 struck near one of Afghanistan's largest cities, Mazar-e-Sharif, early on Monday, 2 months after a tremor in the impoverished nation's east killed over 2,200 people. The U.S. Geological Survey reported that an overnight earthquake struck Kolma near Mazar-e-Sharif at a depth of 28 kilometers. Residents fled into the streets at night, fearing their homes might collapse. Local authorities shared emergency contact numbers for assistance. Afghan provincial health officials stated that 7 deaths and 150 people were injured. Since regaining power in 2021, the Taliban have faced several significant earthquakes. Seismic activity is common in Afghanistan, especially along the Hindu Kush mountains. An urban search and rescue teams from Virginia and California joined recovery efforts in Jamaica recently after Category 5 Hurricane Melissa devastated parts of the island. The U.S. State Department sent 34 people in 4-dog teams to Jamaica. Teams spread out throughout, assessing damage, delivering supplies and speaking to community residents. Virginia Task Force 1 is a domestic and international disaster response resource that is sponsored by the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department. It was established in 1986 and has been deployed throughout the U.S. and world for disaster response. Some of the most notable assignments include Turkey, Haiti, Ecuador and Nepal for earthquakes and various U.S. locations for hurricanes, including 2005's Hurricane Katrina.
You haven't seen to hit all the work.
And the International Day of Biosphere Reserves is being observed today across the globe. Designated by UNESCO, this day is celebrated by regions that promote a harmonious balance between the people and the nature. It also highlights how these reserves contribute to biodiversity conservation and sustainable development worldwide. Take a look.
The International Day of Biosphere Reserves is observed globally on the 3rd of November each year. It was designated by UNESCO during its 41st General Conference in 2022 to mark the 50th anniversary of the Man and the Biosphere program, launched in 1971. The day highlights the critical role of biosphere reserves in promoting sustainable development, biodiversity conservation, and balanced human-nature relationships. As of September 2025, the World Network of Biosphere Reserves includes 784 sites in 142 countries, including 25 transboundary reserves, covering more than 7 million square kilometers, roughly the size of Australia, and home to over 260 million people. These reserves act as living laboratories where communities balance economic growth, cultural preservation, and environmental protection. The observance aims to raise awareness about the global network, strengthen North-South and South-South cooperation, and address challenges such as biodiversity loss, climate change, and unsustainable development. Biosphere reserves contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals by protecting ecosystems, promoting innovation, and advancing climate resilience. The 5th World Congress of Biosphere Reserves was held in Hangzhou, China, bringing together over 2,000 participants to share strategies and best practices for future sustainability. The Congress reaffirmed alignment with global frameworks on biodiversity and climate action, India hosts 18 notified biosphere reserves covering 60,000 to 90,000 square kilometers, with 13 recognized by UNESCO in the WNBR. Nilgiri was the first to be recognized in 2000. The Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat is the largest, while Dibru-Saikhowa in Assam is the smallest. The International Day of Biosphere Reserves serves as a reminder that sustainability depends on cooperation between humanity and nature, built on respect, science, and shared responsibility.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India.